So we'll start now because it's already 7:10. I think no one else will join. So, hello, this is Shobik and I am integrated. I am audible. Hello, Shobik. Hello. 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 Okay. Okay. So this is Shobik here, and I'm an integrated PhD student in Indian Institute of Science, and so let's start the session. So today's topic was digestive system. And so I'll first ask if there was any doubt in the from the class. Okay. So if there is no doubt, then I'll start the session. And so okay, we'll solve some of the questions now. Again, most of the question in this class will is nearly like uh, non-explanatory, like factual types. So let's see. The type of nutrition which our organism take food in that is digested by enzymes secreted outside the body. Okay. So is it a parasitic, saprophytic, or a yeah a parasitic, uh, saprophytic, or holozoic nutrition or autotrophic nutrition? Now, parasitic nutrition, as you know, that parasites go and hijack body systems or use bodies. What I should say, uh, bodies nutritions to use to get their nutrition. So that is not parasite because they sometimes use their own enzymes to digest and digest the own they use their own enzymes to digest some foods and all. So parasitic is not this. Saprophytic is mean they eat dead organisms. So in that case, the organism needs to be secret. For example, fungus and those, though they secrete some enzymes that is outside the body to degrade. So of course, saprophytic nutrition is the correct answer. The holozoic nutrition is the as the process of ingesting directly solids or liquids, which many of the protozoa animal and amoeba, as well as our all animals like human and all they do. Auto, Autotrophic nutrition is done by the plant where they synthesize their own carbons. The internal parasite which multiplies inside the host cell and is life-threatening. Anopheles mosquito, they do bear disease, they are parasite, but they don't secret, they don't go inside our body. So Anopheles is not the correct answer. Fleas, again, fleas stays outside the body in the skin. Same goes for housefly. Plasmodium is a uh, plasmodium is the organism, so this causes life-threatening diseases. For example, Plasmodium clause Plasmodium cause malaria, right? Plasmodium vivax called malaria and plasmodium. So Plasmodium. Okay. Um. Okay. So mechanism of digestion in human follows the order. Let's see if you guys can answer this. I would like to have an answer. So A, B, C, or D, which will be the correct answer? Is a very simple question. So what we do we first? So what do we do? First we take the food, correct? We take food. Then some parts get absorbed, some of the nutritions. Then there'll be enzymes. Enzymes will come into the play for breakdown. Lastly, waste. Which of them will be the correct answer here? I have already told you the answer. You have to just tell me which one is the correct answer. So intake of food, that means ingestion. So first point will be ingestion. Then there the food will be absorbed from the alimentary canal wall, right? The epithelium. So then that will be absorption. Then after that, enzymes will come. So mechanical and enzymatic ways, food will get food will get be like food will get breakdown, correct? Then there will be waste removal. So first ingestion, then absorption, then breakdown of food by mechanical and enzymatic ways, and removal of waste. So option D is the correct answer. Slit-like space between cheeks and teeth. What is called? Gullet, palate, vestibule, or buccal cavity. I have given an image here for your reference, so you can tell me which part is the correct, which is the correct answer. So palate is the palate is there is two palate, hard palate as well as the soft palate. As you can see, this is the hard palate, the soft palate. This is not the slit, correct? Then vestibule. So as you can see, this part is particularly is the part between cheek and the teeth. So this is our cheek, this part, and the teeth. Okay, this is the space. This is known as vestibule. The correct answer is vestibule. Involuntary muscle contraction for esophagus for movement is controlled by peristalsis. Is the muscle contraction is known as peristalsis. The peristalsis is the process, it's not its control. Spinal cord, no, spinal cord controls the movement of the limbs or others, so it's not correct. Cerebrum, no. So the correct answer is medulla oblongata. And yeah, then the type of teeth used for chewing bubble gums. Okay. Now, so you see here, so we have a 2, 1, 2, 3. So if this is our this, so incisor. These are incisors. Canine, canine, molar, and premolar. Correct. So these are molar, premolar, canine. Sorry, my bad. Um, yeah. So molar. This one is the premolar. So three molars. One, two, three. Two premolars. One canine and one incisor. So sorry, two incisor. So molar. So incisor is for incisor canine for merely tearing. We have said so. We only canine. Premolar and molar are the teeth that we use for chewing, right? This is for chewing. So both premolars and the molars are the correct answer. These are the two correct answers, molars and premolars. The center of the tooth that contains nerves and the blood vessels is. So, yeah. So as you can see, as you know the anatomy of the teeth, so top layer of the teeth or the crown. Crown is made up of enamel, then dentin, then the pulp. So this, as you can see in the pulp, there are blood vessels, right? This is the blood vessels. Correct. So the pulp will be the correct answer. The protective coating in the stomach that ensures stomach wall is not damaged by the hydrochloric acid is which one? Mucus, villi, squamous epithelium, or epithelium? This is a very easy question. You should answer this. Let me see which one who can answer this. Okay. So the villi is the small hair-like structures on the epithelium. Squamous epithelium and epithelium. Squamous epithelium is a type of epithelium. So correct answer is the mucus. The longest part of the alimentary tract. The small intestine, large intestine, duodenum, or jejunum. As you can see here, I have shown here. You can see the small intestine is very packed and like has a long like going here, there, and there. This is because the most of the absorption of the food breakdown as well as absorption of the food is done here at the small intestine. So that's why it is so long, and Large intestines is the thickest kind of. Yeah, as you can see with the by width. Yeah. So, and duodenum and jejunum are the part of the small intestine, right? Is duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So, correct answer is of course small intestine. So, the backflow of fecal contents from the colon to ileum is prevented by rectum. Rectum is here. It doesn't have anything. Rectum is here, so it doesn't have any this kind of thing. The pyrolytic sphincter, it prevents. It's present in the pancreas. Pyrolytic sphincter. So this is not the correct answer. Correct. What does pyrolytic sphincter do? Pyrolytic sphincter prevents uh, food from going. Pyrolytic sphincter prevents food from out of the stomach like, into the small. Sorry, it's like governs the passage of food out of the stomach into small intestine. So that means prevent the food to go from small intestine to stomach back again. Correct. It also prevent the acids to go inside the small intestine. So the ileocecal valve, you can see the colon and ileum. So ileocecal valve is the correct answer. Venous valve is present uh, in the lumen of the vein, so it doesn't have any role to play here. The correct order of large intestine. So large intestine starts from here. So first is the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, rectum, anus. Correct. So ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon. This is the sigmoid colon, rectum, anus. So this one. The RNA and DNA are broken into nitrogenous bases in which of the following organ? So this is breakdown by the nucleuses present in the small intestine. The cells that secrete intestinal antimicrobial proteins also lysozyme is Paneth cells, goblet cells, Argentafin cells, correct? Which one is the correct answer? So the Paneth cells, they secrete lysosomal enzymes and other factors to keep lumen, like antimicrobial proteins and all. So goblet cells, they secrete the mucus to protect the uh, mucus to protect the cell wall, as well as it promotes the movement of the blood. Enteroendocrine cells, so they secrete hormones because endocrine cells, right? And now last one is the so argentapin cells, their function is not yet known. It's thought to be of some secretory uh, cells. Correct is the kinase. Carbohydrates are broken down to glucose and stored as glycogen in pancreas, liver, small intestine, large intestine. So which one is the correct answer? So very basic questions. Liver have liver have enzymes like, so liver is the where is the glycogenosis happen? Glycogenosis happened. There are two places glycogenosis happens. Okay. One is the liver, one is the muscle. Correct? And so stored as glycogenesis happens in the liver and breakdown of glucose by glycolysis. But now the glycolysis is though is present in most of the cells, but glycogenesis is present only in the liver. So correct answer is the liver. Okay. Cholesterol esterase and phospholipase enzymes are produced by which organ? Cholesterol ester is hydrolyzes cholesterol and hydrolyzes the phospholipids. So this is mainly done in the by produced by the pancreas. The disease caused by severe vitamin D deficiency is so marasmus. It's a deficiency of mainly nutrients, mainly proteins. Correct. Then wash your gut. Is the correct answer correct? Or no? Kwashiorkor is a disease for not having enough proteins. Constipation is a disease for not having enough fiber in your diet. So osteomalacia, vitamin D. Why vitamin D is a D? Because vitamin D is helps to make your bones strong. Correct. So osteomalacia is the correct word. You'll have joint pain, teeth decay, and buildup of which waste material in blood leads to jaundice, gastric juice, no. Hemoglobin, of course not. Blood is made up of hemoglobin. Fats, you have, and fats, you have the cardiovascular disorder. So, of course, bilirubin is the correct answer. The walls of the small intestine consists of a finger-like position known as pseudopodia, villi, cristae, or fingri. If you see the epithelium of the small intestine, which I have to put, I just put it. I just show you. I forgot to put the image here. So intestinal epithelium. So if I put this image here, so this is the intestinal epithelium. As you can see, this intestinal epithelium is there the small finger-like projections. Correct. Yeah. So these are the villi. Correct. So these are projections. They help they make enhances the surface area of the intestine, and that helps in the uh, absorption of the different nutrients. So villi is the correct answer. The movement of chloride ions during the movement of chloride ion is by diffusion, osmosis, active transfer, passive transfer. Chloride ions go by diffusion, transport of glucose. So chloride ions go by diffusion. Then lipids are emulsified in small intestine by lipase into fatty acids and proteins. So fatty acids and proteins, carbohydrates, glycerol, water. Glycerol, right? Glycerol, because glycerol helps in fatty acid to form the fatty acid and glycerol to form the uh, fat molecules, right? Fatty acids, correct? The lipid molecules, correct? Therefore, lipid molecules are fatty acyl glycerols, correct? That we have discussed during the one of the class. Mm, So that's what I had. So I'll play one so I'll play one animation so that you can also have a idea how it works. So start.
The human digestive system is very complex and has evolved over millions of years. It basically consists of the rectum, the large intestine, the small intestine, the pancreas, the stomach, also called gaster and ventriculus, and the liver with the gallbladder. The esophagus is also part of this system, as well as various salivary glands near the mouth. First, the food is broken up in the mouth by the teeth and then mixed with saliva with the help of the salivary glands. Saliva contains a digestive enzyme called amylase that already begins to digest carbohydrates in the mouth. It splits carbohydrates into smaller units. The ball-like mixture of food with saliva, also known as bolus, is pushed into the throat by the tongue, and finally into the esophagus, which propels the bolus to the stomach. The esophageal lumen, that is, the opening inside the esophagus, is very flexible, which allows boluses of different sizes to be transported. The esophagus consists of several layers. These layers occur throughout the entire digestive tract. The two outer muscle layers are responsible for peristalsis. Through these two muscles, the bolus can be transported from the mouth to the stomach, even if the person is standing on his head. The stomach is often divided into 6 areas. The stomach is composed of a similar structure to the esophagus. It has a longitudinal muscle layer on the outside. Underneath, we can find circular muscle fibers. In addition to this, there is an oblique muscle layer overlaying the mucosa. On the inside, there are rugae that allow the stomach to enlarge when food is consumed. The stomach wall contains gastric glands. They produce mucus, which is able to protect the stomach wall from the secreted gastric acid. Gastric acid is produced by simply smelling or seeing food, but also spices, and the stretching of the stomach causes the secretion, that is, the release of gastric acid. About 1 to 2 liters of gastric juice are produced per day. Since the esophagus does not have a protective mucus layer like the stomach and esophagus are separated by a sphincter. It relaxes when a bolus is pushed from the esophagus into the stomach and then contracts to prevent acid and food from going back up. Gastric juice consists, among other things, of hydrochloric acid, the enzyme pepsin, the intrinsic factor, and lipase for the digestion of fat. In addition to nutrients, food also contains bacteria that can damage the body. The components of hydrochloric acid are able to destroy harmful bacteria. In addition, hydrochloric acid converts pepsinogen, also released by the gastric glands, into pepsin. Pepsin is able to break down proteins in the stomach. For a vitamin B12 absorption in the small intestine, the intrinsic factor is needed, which is produced by the gastric glands. The vitamin must combine with intrinsic factor, then it can be absorbed later by the small intestine. Vitamin B12 helps keep the body's nerve and blood cells healthy and helps make DNA. It also contains gastric lipase, an acid-resistant enzyme for fat digestion. In the stomach, gastric lipase splits a triglyceride into a free fatty acid and a diglyceride, whereby only the free fatty acid can be absorbed by the body. More effective fat digestion takes place in the small intestine. Through gastric juice and stomach movements, which take place approximately every 20 seconds, the individual boluses are mixed to a semi-fluid mass of partly digested food, the so-called chyme. The chyme cannot enter the duodenum at first because there is a sphincter at the stomach exit. The pyloric sphincter resembles the esophageal sphincter. The pyloric sphincter opens only a few millimeters, so that larger pieces remain inside the stomach. In the first section of the small intestine, the duodenum, bile, and pancreatic secretions are mixed with the chyme via the ampulla of Vater. Pancreatic juice contains numerous digestive proenzymes and enzymes. In order for these to do their job, a higher pH value than that in the stomach is necessary. For this reason, pancreatic juice contains sodium hydrogen carbonate. Hydrogen carbonate is able to neutralize the acid in the chyme and thus produce the optimum pH value of 7 or 8. Pancreatic juice also contains proenzymes. It is only through enterokinase, released by the duodenum wall, that the proenzyme trypsinogen becomes trypsin, which can split proteins and activate other trypsinogens. We also find alpha amylase, which we had already found in the mouth. It now does the rest regarding the splitting of carbohydrates, which it converts into maltose and isomaltose. Furthermore, pancreatic lipase is able to split triglycerides into two free fatty acids. The gastric lipase, as we have seen before, can produce only one free fatty acid. The pancreatic lipase can cleave triglycerides excellently because the bile breaks the fats down into tiny droplets. This is called emulsification. Numerous other enzymes are part of pancreatic juice, but these will not be explained in detail here. Bile is produced by the liver cells and transported to the gallbladder. The bile is stored in the gallbladder and finally added to the food in the duodenum via the ampulla of Vater. The pancreas also releases juice via the ampulla of Vater. The small intestine consists of three sections: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The ileum continues into the large intestine in the right lower abdomen. The duodenum and the jejunum have circular folds to increase the contact surface with the food. These circular folds extend about 1 centimeter into the lumen of the small intestine. These folds are covered with small finger-like projections called villi. Villi increase the surface considerably. Villi are about 1 millimeter long. Each villus contains blood capillaries and a lymphatic capillary called lacteal, which we will see later. The nutrients, marked green here, are absorbed by the villus and transferred to the blood capillaries. Some nutrients, such as glucose, do not require a carrier. They are transported freely in the bloodstream. Other nutrients, such as iron, require transport proteins like transferrin. Fats are transported by chylomicrons, which are lipoproteins. The triglycerides to be transported are virtually enclosed in the lipoprotein. Chylomicrons and triglycerides are then transported through the lacteal of the villus. Each villus is covered by even smaller microvilli. They multiply the intestinal surface considerably. The microvilli absorb nutrients and transport them to the inside. The last part of the small intestine is the ileum. It does not have, unlike the duodenum and jejunum, circular folds. The ileum absorbs electrolytes, such as calcium for building bones, hair, and teeth. Trace elements, such as zinc for sperm production and the immune system. Vitamins, such as B12, for the formation and maturation of red blood cells. And remaining bile acid, which is transported back to the liver via the bloodstream. As with the esophagus, the food is transported by peristalsis. In contrast, segmentation contractions serve to mix the chyme, which is shown here in yellow and red, to make it easier to see the mixing process. The large intestine is thicker than the small intestine. It is about 1 meter long and surrounds the small intestine. The small intestine is connected to the large intestine via the Bowhem's valve. It opens when chyme is to pass from the small intestine to the large intestine. The large intestine does not have any villi like the small intestine because most digestive have already been absorbed in the small intestine. However, the large intestine has an estimated 100 billion bacteria inside. They are important for many other tasks, such as the production of vitamins and the decomposition of fiber for the body's energy production. Many of these bacteria are an important part of the immune system by killing harmful germs. Through peristalsis, the chyme is transported from the ascending colon to the transverse colon to the descending colon. On its way through the large intestine, water is removed from the chyme. Furthermore, mucus is added for proper excretion of waste. Substances that cannot be absorbed through the small intestine or the large intestine remain in the rectum and are finally excreted through the anus.
Short video explaining how digestive system. That's where we'll end our class today. And so let's meet on next week, the 8th March. Okay. Bye. I'll end the session here. Thank you. Let's try.